you come out of new Babbage and a new PTU patch, and you make your way to the metro loop, there's a sign pointing you to Kelto's shop. So let's take a look at that. So we see a really nice Kelto shop, and I think these are my favorite shops in the game. Like, they're beautifully designed, they look like a realistic convenience store. And you have all the different things. You have food, all different types, water, even beer. You have a Grey Cat industrial tool and a multi-tool attachment for tractor beams that you can just grab off the shelf like that. You don't have to go into a menu to buy it. And you have guns, and then you have the console to get more things. So what's the problem with that? It's too convenient. Because here's the thing. Why would you have to go to a landing zone if the most convenient and most sought after parts are literally put in your path to easily get while going to the spaceport? Which means for most of your gameplay needs, you never ever have to go to New Babbage. If you just need a basic armor, you need a multi-tool, attachment, food, water, you can just go to this shop and go directly to the spaceport. And that devalues city shopping areas as a zone for players to go. Some players may think, okay, that's not a bad idea, they don't like go to cities anyway. And I think that's basically the cities are paying for a mistake the developers made in another part of the game. Let me show you. So if I would ask a player if they like to go to landing zones, they probably will say no. And if I would ask them why they don't like it, they would probably say they have to take too many trains, or it just takes too long to get there. However, I think the real problem is that once you land in a city and you log out in the city, you snap back to the hub. So every time you go to a city and you log out, every time you have to run from the hub, take the train, go to the space station, request your ship, and take off. So you have like 5 to 10 minutes of gameplay that's always exactly the same, especially if you don't have anything to do in the city. And I think the developers reacted to this problem by putting this Kelto shop very close to the hub. I think that's a problem because, as I just mentioned, it fixes the wrong problem and creates a new one. Because you want cities to be these social places where a lot of players go, and it should be the places where you can get the most stuff of the game. Like, you should be excited, I'm going to the city, there's a lot of cool things I can get. However, currently there's zones that every player avoids as much as they can. And I think the problem comes from that you cannot log out exactly where you started the game, where you left off the game last time. So in every MMO, I think in almost every MMO or some type of open world multiplayer game, you can, if you Alt F4, just exit the game any way you want. The next time you start playing, you end up at the exact same spot where you are. And Star Citizen should have that too. Now, some players might say that you should go to bed and log out. But this still doesn't fix the problem, because cities currently are they're like a magnetic, like this huge magnet. If you get too close to it, you get sucked into it. And every time you want to get out of it, you have to spend 5 to 10 minutes, not just to get to the spaceport, but you also have to get into space, into 0G, before you can even log out in a bed or to the next space station. So most players, now imagine how the game would be different if you could log out, log in exactly where you want. Let's say, for example, in this gaming session, I got out of the hub, I go to this shop, get some drinks, go into the city, check some market prices for some commodities, go to the bar, have a beer, and just log out exactly where I was. The next day I start playing again. I can start in the bar, or I can go to the spaceport, or anything in between. And I think the game currently has the technology to actually do that. And the evidence is, for example, I played the ePTU patch, which is the same as the PTU right now. And the game last week would crash quite often. Like in some patches, it would crash, I think, every minute or so. However, the crash recovery was so good that it actually put you back exactly where you were. I was actually in landing approach with a reclaimer on the moon, and it was a few kilometers out from touching the ground. It loaded me exactly back in. I was able to land a ship without crashing it. Or I was in a train in the city. Or I was in the middle of a wrecked ship that was turning on its own axis, and it was pulling components out when it crashed. And it got me exactly back in the same room. So the technology is there for the game to actually get you back in the exact spot where you were. Now, some players might say, okay, wait a minute, then what are the beds for? Well, the thing is about beds is they could still exist in the game and have a gameplay purpose by, for example, if you log out in a bed, you get a bonus on food or water drain the next hour after you start playing the game. So there's still an incentive to go to bed if you want to, but you don't have to do it. And I think it's necessary for this new way to be like that, because otherwise cities will always be the places that players avoid as much as they can.